will talk about the plasma membrane. I want to start with the components of the plasma membrane. One of the major components of the membrane is lipids. The lipids found in the membrane are known as phospholipids and make up about 42% of the cell's plasma membrane. Phospholipids are amphiphilic molecules because they have a polar head group that consists of glycerol, phosphate, and a unique head group, as discussed in the last chapter, and are hydrophilic, meaning it loves water. The tail group consisting of the fatty acids is hydrophobic, meaning it hates water. Phospholipids are arranged as a bilayer. They are arranged in two layers, which keeps the hydrophobic regions together and away from water, and the hydrophilic heads together and close to water. This is the most favorable arrangement of phospholipids and creates the phospholipid bilayer associated with all cell membranes. The plasma membrane serves as a barrier. It helps to keep the differences between what's inside the cell and what's outside the cell. Cholesterol is also found in the plasma membrane and provides some structure and support to the membrane. 55% of the plasma membrane is made of protein. There are two types of proteins found in the plasma membrane. Integral proteins are part of the membrane structure and cannot be easily removed from the plasma membrane. As we will discuss later, these proteins are important for cellular transport. The peripheral proteins are bound to either the inner or outer surface of the plasma membrane. The last part of the plasma membrane are carbohydrates, which make up about 3% of the membrane. These are associated with the outer surfaces of the membrane only and consists of glycolipids and glycoproteins. These carbohydrates form the glycocalyx. The arrangement of the molecules in the plasma membrane resembles a mosaic. The membrane is also very fluid. When combined, we come up with the fluid mosaic model of membrane structure. I would like for you to imagine a swimming pool, and your swimming pool surface is covered with small white ping pong balls. These ping pong balls are the head groups of the phospholipids. Now imagine you threw a beach ball into your pool or perhaps some type of raft or tube. These items are the proteins that are part of that phospholipid bilayer. The figure of the plasma membrane shows integral membrane proteins, peripheral proteins, and carbohydrates. You can also see the phospholipids in this picture as well. This picture does not show cholesterol, but the cholesterol molecules would be in between neighboring phospholipids near the fatty acid tails. The plasma membrane functions as a barrier and is selectively permeable, which means it allows the passage of some materials while restricting the passage of others. Because the plasma membrane is a selectively permeable barrier, we must talk about the different ways that solutes are transported across the plasma membrane. The first major category of transport mechanisms that we're going to talk about is called diffusion. Diffusion is a passive process because there is no energy expenditure by the cell. During diffusion, molecules will move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. This difference in concentration is known as the concentration gradient. Imagine that this is a cell at time 0. There are 0 oxygen molecules inside the cell, while there are 100 oxygen molecules outside the cell. From this, we can say that outside the cell, there is a high concentration of oxygen molecules, while inside the cell, there is a low concentration of oxygen molecules. For oxygen to move, or anything to move across the membrane, the substance must be permeable. For diffusion across cell membranes, the molecules must be small and uncharged. Oxygen and other gases like carbon dioxide fit that requirement because it's both small and uncharged. Because oxygen is higher outside of the cell and the cell is permeable to oxygen, oxygen will move into the cell from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. At the time of 30 minutes, an equilibrium between oxygen movement into and out of the cell has occurred, and the concentration gradient is now eliminated. What drives the movement of molecules? It's molecules in motion. Molecules are bumping around and into each other, creating energy that drives the diffusion process. There are 3 types of diffusion that occur within the cell. All of these are passive processes. For simple diffusion, the substances can directly penetrate the plasma membrane. For molecules to move through the cell membrane using simple diffusion, they need to be small and uncharged, such as gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Channel-mediated diffusion is needed when molecules are charged or are ions. Channel-mediated diffusion requires an integral membrane protein which acts like a channel, allowing the passage of small soluble molecules and ions. I like to think of a channel-mediated diffusion like a tunnel through the plasma membrane. This tunnel is open and specific for certain substances. For example, there is a tunnel for sodium ions, and there would be another tunnel for potassium ions. These channels or tunnels allow charged ions to move down their concentration gradient.